This film is based on a true story set in the early 1930s, a time when the world was still struggling after World War II. During this period, Dr. Friedrich Ritter left Germany with his wife, Dore Strauch, and chose to live on a deserted island, far away from civilization. On this island, Dr. Ritter began writing philosophy about starting life anew and surviving in a harsh world. In his writings, he also described his isolated island life. Ships passing near the island carried his writings, and soon his thoughts began appearing in newspapers. People around the world were deeply impressed by his ideas, and slowly he became famous. Many even started following his philosophy. One such admirer was Heinz Whitmer. Inspired by Dr. Ritter, Heinz left everything behind and came to the island with his wife, Margaret Whitmer, and their young son, Harry Whitmer. This was in 1932, nearly 3 years after Dr. Ritter had already settled there. When Heinz and his family arrive, they meet Dr. Ritter and Dore Strauch. It is clear from their expressions that the couple is not happy about these newcomers. Still, Heinz believes that Dr. Ritter will be impressed by him. Sensing the tension, Heinz explains that Dr. Ritter's philosophy has become famous across the world, and that he and his wife are devoted followers who came to the island because of him. Even after hearing this, Dr. Ritter shows no excitement. Instead, he begins giving them a tour of the island, warning them that living alone there is extremely difficult. He explains that wild animals are dangerous, and that the island has no reliable water source except 2 small springs that collect rainwater. Dr. Ritter then loads Margaret's luggage onto Dore's donkey and leaves Heinz and his family near an old, abandoned structure on top of a hill. He clearly tells them that he cannot offer them a place in his camp. He adds that they should be able to manage for now, and that if they have come here willingly, they must arrange their own shelter. Before leaving, he firmly reminds them to return his wife's donkey before nightfall. That night, Dr. Ritter and Dore Strauch are shown talking together. Dore mocks the newcomers and says she does not understand what those foolish people were thinking by coming to the island. She believes they will never survive like them and will keep coming back for help. She feels disturbed by their presence. Dr. Ritter laughs coldly and says that is why he left them in that abandoned place where even dead bodies rot. He adds that if they spend the night in the cold, they might not survive until morning. On the other side, Heinz Whitmer and Margaret Whitmer begin working day and night to turn the abandoned structure into a livable home. They decide to collect rainwater for drinking. Heinz digs a large pit in the ground and connects cut bamboo pieces to it, so rainwater flowing through the bamboo collects in the pit below. Slowly, they begin adjusting to the harsh conditions. However, Margaret is deeply uncomfortable. At night, the sounds of wild animals and large insects terrify her and do not let her sleep. The cold becomes so intense that breathing feels difficult. They struggle every night, lighting fires just to survive. Days pass like this, and one day Margaret tells Heinz that her periods are 3 months late. This means she is pregnant. Heinz is overjoyed when he hears the news, but Margaret is not happy at all. She's afraid and does not want to bring a child into such a dangerous and unforgiving environment. The next day, both couples are shown searching for food in the forested hills. Suddenly, they hear the sound of a gunshot from a distance. Ritter looks through his binoculars and realizes that someone else has arrived on the island. This makes him furious, as he wanted to live completely alone, away from all people. It is then revealed that Baroness Eloise Wereborn de Wagner-Bosquet has arrived on the island with her 2 companions, Rudolf Lorenz and Robert Philipson. They have also brought a servant with them. As soon as they arrive, they behave cheerfully, laughing and enjoying themselves. When Dr. Ritter and Dore return to their camp, Eloise's companions lift a chair and place it before him in an exaggerated display of respect. Baroness Eloise meets Dore Strauch and introduces herself as a woman from a royal background. She explains that she has come especially to meet the famous Dr. Friedrich Ritter. Soon, Dr. Ritter appears before them. The moment Baroness Eloise sees him, she stands up and begins praising him passionately. She says she always dreamed of meeting the man who abandoned the world and created his own kingdom. She claims that she has spoken highly of him everywhere, even in front of presidents and governors. She mentions how she admired his decision to remove all his teeth so he could avoid infections and fully dedicate his life to philosophy, creating ideas that would benefit the world. Dr. Ritter calmly asks where they plan to live. Baroness Eloise replies that they are thinking of camping near the beach. He immediately warns her that there is no drinking water there and suggests a better location instead. In the next scene, Baroness Eloise and her companions are seen bathing and enjoying themselves in a pond. At that moment, Heinz Whitmer and Margaret Whitmer rush toward them in panic and shout, asking them to get out immediately. It is revealed that this pond is the rainwater reservoir Heinz built, their only source of drinking water. Realizing her mistake, Baroness Eloise apologizes sincerely and says she did not know. She introduces herself properly and tells them that from now on, they are neighbors on the island. Baroness Eloise Weerborn de Wagner-Bosquet openly announces that she wants to build a very large resort on the island, a place meant only for millionaires. She says that the engineer of this project is Rudolf Lorenz, while Robert Philipson has come with them as Rudolf's bodyguard. Later, Eloise hands over several letters. Some of them are for Heinz Whitmer, and she tells him that the remaining ones must be given to Dr. Friedrich Ritter. When Heinz delivers the letters to Dr. Ritter, he notices that they are already opened. This immediately angers him. He snaps and says that Eloise could have given the letters to him directly, instead of sending them through Heinz. The situation becomes humiliating, and Heinz feels insulted. Filled with anger, he goes straight to Eloise and questions her. He asks why she involved him at all, and whether she is trying to create a fight between them. Eloise responds sharply and says that Dr. Ritter did the same thing earlier. She explains that he deliberately told them about Heinz's water source, which is why they went there, thinking it was just a pond, and started enjoying themselves. Heinz goes silent after hearing this because he already knows that Dr. Ritter often troubled them on purpose. After a few days, Heinz and Margaret Whitmer are shown building their house by carefully joining stones together. During this time, Eloise and her companions arrive near their home. Eloise explains that they plan to camp there because it is extremely hot near the beach where they were staying before. She assures Heinz and Margaret that they will not disturb them. She promises that once the resort is built, they will leave and will not rely on their water source for long, because Rudolf, being an engineer, will soon discover a new water supply on the island. Many days pass. Rudolf works tirelessly, digging day and night in search of water, but he finds nothing. The failure slowly frustrates him. He also grows angry because he is the only one working hard, while Eloise and Robert spend their time enjoying themselves. One day, his frustration explodes. He storms in during Eloise and Robert's private time and angrily confronts them. He tells Eloise that she was foolish to bring him here without any real plan. He reminds her that he is an engineer, not a miracle worker, and that there is no garden or water here. He accuses her of wasting his time with empty dreams. Eloise is deeply hurt by his words. She turns pale with anger and storms off into the forest. By now, the group has been without proper food for many days. Because of hunger, Robert and Rudolf begin secretly watching Heinz's house, waiting for a chance to steal food. Around the same time, Margaret starts feeling severe and unusual pain in her stomach. She realizes that the moment has come and she is about to give birth. She calls out loudly for Heinz, but he is not nearby. She steps outside and cries for help, calling everyone's name. Robert and Rudolf remain hidden, watching silently, but they do not come forward to help her. Left with no choice, Margaret decides to go to Eloise's tent to ask for help. From behind, it is shown that as soon as she leaves, Robert and Rudolf seize the opportunity and enter Margaret's house to steal food. Meanwhile, Eloise hears Margaret's desperate voice but refuses to come out of her tent. She does not want to help her. Exhausted and helpless, Margaret returns to her home. As soon as she enters, Robert and Rudolf hide themselves, taking away all the food they have just stolen. Margaret now has no option left. She spreads newspapers on the ground and prepares herself to give birth alone. Unknown to her, Robert and Rudolf are secretly watching everything from a distance. At the same time, their cow, which they had captured from the jungle days earlier and which provided them with milk, begins making loud noises. While Margaret tries to feed the cow, intense pain overwhelms her, and blood starts flowing from her body. The smell of blood attracts wild dogs who surround her and attempt to attack. Margaret has nothing to defend herself with. She grabs a broom and struggles to fight them off. She is battling unbearable pain, fear, and danger, completely alone. Eventually, Margaret becomes extremely weak. Elsewhere, Rudolph goes to Eloise and pleads with her, saying that she should help Margaret. Eloise coldly refuses. Seeing this cruelty, Eloise's servant loses his patience. He angrily confronts her and says that he cannot stand leaving a woman in such a terrible situation. He decides to help, even if it costs him his position. Back at Margaret's house, the baby is born. The wild dogs try to attack the newborn. Just before something terrible happens, Heinz arrives with his son, Harry Whitmer. Together, they manage to scare the dogs away in time. Heinz sees that the baby is alive and healthy, but Margaret's condition is critical. After giving birth, she faints and does not regain consciousness. Desperate and broken, Heinz runs to Dr. Ritter to ask for help. At first, Dr. Ritter refuses to assist in any way. Seeing Margaret's condition, Dore Strauch pleads with her husband and urges him to help. Finally, Dr. Ritter goes with Heinz to Margaret. When he examines her, he realizes that her condition is severe and that the placenta is still inside her body. He asks Heinz for a spoon and hot water. Using these basic tools, he performs a painful procedure. The process is brutal, and Margaret suffers greatly, but in the end, her life is saved. The scene then shifts to several months later. Summer has arrived on the island. The intense heat has dried everything, and water has become extremely scarce. Food supplies are nearly gone. Dr. Ritter is no longer able to write his philosophy. Eloise and her group are also starving. One day, Rudolph, weakened by hunger, comes to Heinz and Margaret's house to ask for food. Heinz and Margaret welcome him, give him food, and treat him kindly. This deeply affects Rudolph. He realizes that Eloise never treated him with such humanity. Moved by this kindness, he begins to tell them the truth about Eloise. He reveals that Eloise is not from any royal family. She is actually a poor and ordinary woman. Her royal manners, confident speech, and knowledge all come from books. Even her clothes are borrowed. She lives a fake life, shaped by dreams. Abandoned by her parents, she once danced in clubs in Paris, where she met Robert and Rudolph. She admired Dr. Ritter's writings, learned about the island through him, and brought Rudolph here under the excuse of building a hotel. The scene cuts again, and it is shown that a famous Hollywood film director arrives on the island with his entire crew. They bring large supplies of food, changing the situation for everyone on the island. He was also deeply impressed by Dr. Friedrich Ritter and had come to the island hoping to meet him. As soon as Baroness Eloise Wehrborn de Wagner-Bosquet hears about the director's arrival, she becomes excited. She believes she can control him and finally fulfill all her dreams through him. Eloise dresses carefully and goes to meet him, but the director barely gives her any importance. This immediately upsets her. That night, the director hosts a party on the island. During the gathering, he thanks Dr. Ritter and praises his philosophies, saying they have given great ideas to the world. He also admires Dr. Ritter's courage for leaving everything behind and starting life alone on such a harsh island. At the same time, he praises Margaret Whitmer for giving birth to the first child on the island. After the party ends, everyone returns to their camps. Soon after, Eloise realizes that the director and his team never came to make a film. They only came to party and plan to leave the next morning. With very little time left, Eloise approaches the director again and tries to charm him. The director clearly tells her that he has no interest in her. When Eloise says she feels lonely living on the island, he laughs loudly and says he finally understands. He tells her that she is not from any royal family and is only pretending. He says women from royal families do not behave the way she just did. He also warns her that if she thinks he will help her escape the island, she is completely wrong. After saying this, he leaves. Hearing this truth spoken so directly shatters Eloise completely. Eloise still hopes that even if she cannot stay with the director, she might at least leave the island on his ship and escape the hunger and suffering. But when she wakes up the next morning, she discovers that the ship has already left. This realization pushes her into deep depression. For the first time in her life, something she wanted does not happen. That same morning, Dr. Ritter wakes up and realizes that all the food supplies given by the Hollywood director are missing. He understands that Eloise has stolen everything. Furious, he goes to confront Heinz Whitmer and angrily says that he can no longer tolerate Eloise. He tells Heinz that they must choose sides. Heinz responds by reminding Dr. Ritter that he stood by him even when he was disliked by everyone. Dr. Ritter replies that then there is only one thing left to do, to take revenge. Both men go to Eloise's camp with their rifles and demand their food back. Eloise refuses and mocks them, saying that Dr. Ritter will never share his food with Heinz. In anger, Dr. Ritter points his gun, and Robert Philipson also raises his weapon. Before anything deadly happens, Margaret Whitmer arrives and stops them, telling everyone to go back to their homes. When Dr. Ritter returns, his anger completely consumes him. He can no longer write his philosophy or find peace on the island. In frustration, he smashes his typewriter and tells Dore Strauch that he will no longer die of hunger and will go hunting. Dore reminds him that they are vegetarians, but Dr. Ritter says it no longer matters to him. He only wants food, no matter what it is. Meanwhile, Rudolf Lorenz comes once again to Heinz and Margaret's house. They treat him kindly and give him food just as before. At the same time, Eloise shouts for Rudolf from outside. She also gives him food and returns his clothes. She tells him that if he wants to leave the island, he is free to go. Rudolf's eyes fill with tears. He tells her that if she needs anything while he is leaving for the last time, she can ask him. That night, Heinz hears strange noises outside his house. Thinking thieves have come, he steps out with his gun. He fires a warning shot into the air, but the bullet accidentally hits Dore Strauch's donkey. The thief escapes. Disturbed by what happened, Heinz returns home and tells Margaret they should not mention this to anyone. The next morning, Dore wakes up and sees that her chickens have fallen sick and her donkey is missing. Dr. Ritter and Dore go to confront Heinz and Margaret, asking if they are responsible. Heinz firmly denies knowing anything about the donkey or the chickens. During the conversation, they notice someone secretly listening. They realize that apart from them, only Eloise's group is on the island. Both sides understand that Eloise is behind everything going wrong. This shared realization turns their hatred into cooperation, and they decide to take revenge on her. On the way, they meet Rudolf. When they threaten him, he finally confesses that he made Dore's donkey disappear on Eloise's orders. He apologizes and says he never wants to do such things again. He only wants to escape this hell. Dr. Ritter and Heinz believe him, and Rudolf joins them. They reach Eloise's camp and shout for her to come out. Instead, Robert comes out and attacks immediately. He overpowers Rudolf and is about to stab a sharp object into his mouth. Before he can do so, Heinz grabs him from behind, pulls him away, and kills him. Hearing the noise, Eloise comes out and starts acting innocent. She claims Robert abused her and forced her to do everything. She hugs Heinz and asks him to believe her, saying it was good that Robert is dead. She even promises to make Heinz and Dr. Ritter equal partners in her resort. Both men know her truth. Dr. Ritter raises his gun and shoots Eloise, killing her. They do not realize that the gunshot is loud enough for Margaret to hear it. The two men then decide to hide the crime from their wives. They carry both bodies and throw them down the hill into the sea. The next day, they call Rudolf and plan everything carefully. Rudolf tells Margaret that Eloise and Robert have left the island and gave a letter before leaving. Margaret does not believe this story. She knows Eloise would never leave her belongings behind. She also heard the gunshot that day. She tells Heinz the truth, saying she knows Eloise and Robert are dead and that Dr. Ritter killed them. She warns Heinz that Dr. Ritter is not his friend and will trap him if the police ever arrive. At the same time, Dore Strauch grows tired of Dr. Ritter's worsening behavior. She tells him that she is leaving him and accuses him of ruining her life. She says he came to the island to write philosophy, but instead dragged her into endless conflicts. Dr. Ritter argues that their suffering is caused by others and lack of resources. Angry and hurt, Dore walks away. On the path, she meets Margaret, who tells her that Dr. Ritter killed Eloise. Dore refuses to believe it and defends her husband. Elsewhere, Rudolf sits alone near the sea and spots a ship passing by. He signals desperately, The captain notices him and throws a lifebuoy. Rudolph swims toward it and is finally rescued. After a year of suffering, he escapes the island. Dr. Ritter sees him leaving, and this fills him with joy. He calls Dore and says he has found a new idea for writing philosophy. Dore pretends to be happy and suggests celebrating. She cooks meat from a sick chicken and serves it to him. After eating the food, Dr. Ritter becomes seriously ill. His face turns blue and his body begins to swell. Realizing something is wrong, Dore rushes to call Margaret. Margaret immediately recognizes it as food poisoning. Dr. Ritter's condition worsens, and he cannot even speak. In his final moments, he curses Dore and then dies. He is buried on the island. Months later, the police arrive to investigate. They question Heinz and reveal that Dr. Ritter had accused him of killing Eloise in letters sent to Germany. Dore also gives a statement against Heinz. When Margaret is questioned, she tells the truth. She says Heinz is innocent and that Dr. Ritter killed Eloise. She also accuses Dore of killing Dr. Ritter by feeding him poisoned chicken. She explains that the healthy chickens were still alive and only the sick ones were missing. With no solid evidence against Heinz, the police leave him and his family on the island and take Dore away. In the end, it is revealed that Dore Strauch returned to Germany and died in 1943 after writing a successful book about her island life, filled with accusations against Margaret. Margaret later wrote her own book in response. Margaret and her family continued living on the island and eventually built a small resort that still welcomes tourists today. It is also revealed that Rudolph later disappeared at sea when his ship ran out of fuel. In the final scene, we see that Margaret lived on the island until old age, and the small resort stands quietly as the story comes to an end.